Resources, you dumb son of a bitches. Does Lori need mental help? No. No, the trauma has already been done. The damage has already been done. What we need to do is keep Lori safe, but is that what's happening? No. The state has taken advantage of her because of her mental status. And what is her mental status from? Long-term abuse. Alright, so Misty told me to call her yesterday. I did. She did not answer. Let's try it again. They're off by an hour, so she should be conscious now. Hopefully.
Please leave your message for 7202.
Alright. Hey Misty, it's Sean Schwartz. You told me to call yesterday, so I did. I also texted you yesterday. Sounds like your phone went straight through to voicemail, so I guess there's that. She got a hold of me, wanted to send me a friend request, and of course, with everything that I've been going through for all these years, I wanted to know that it was actually Misty that was getting a hold of me. I'd say that's pretty important. I've had multiple people send me friend requests pretending to be her. Apparently, she's been in prison for the last 7 years. So those people obviously were not Misty. So how's it going to go with Misty? Well, it'll probably go about the same as it does with everybody else. If she'll tell me to call, I'll call. She'll ignore me. Then she'll tell me I should have done so earlier. I should have done so before. I should have done so previously. I should have called her last week or the week before. Depends on how long this goes on. It's my fault she didn't answer. Is more likely to be a response in this than, well, I might get an I'm sorry out of it. Well, I'm sorry I was busy. I'm sorry I was busy, which, you know, I try to believe people when they say that, but when you tell me that you're busy, but the cops say something else, yeah, it's your job to correct it. Your job to correct it. Your job as a friend or as a decent human being, it is your job to correct it, not to make excuses and to look the other way and to not answer, to say that you will and then you just simply don't. I'm not rich enough to take care of myself. I'm not physically able to take care of myself. Misty stayed with Kenneth Wilson and Leatha Plunkett before I stayed there. And Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett were not very good to Gabriel in front of her either. She typed with me earlier, day before yesterday maybe, might have been yesterday morning, about Gabriel being abused by Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett. Obviously, not a figment of my goddamn imagination. If it was a figment of my imagination, it's a hallucination that lots of people are having. Like Molly, the situation with her. Well over a dozen people were there just one of those nights. Because the Scudders were there, Most of the Scudder family was there with the Molly situation. Also, there was Dallas Palmer and a few of his relatives, relations, and friends. I am fucking freezing. I don't have the money to spend on coffee this morning, but I'm going to anyway because I'm fucking freezing. Every goddamn thing hurts. When I started this journey, my air conditioner worked, and well, I never used it though, and my heater worked, and I used that a lot. Well, now my heater doesn't work anymore. I need somebody to take a look at my fucking situation that actually fucking gives a shit, not somebody that I have to beg to please keep their word. Something that's so simple as answering a goddamn phone. You'd think that'd be easy. Anyway, I gotta go through the recordings with Eli, get some of the names out of there. He knows the name of the 14-year-old girl who was assaulted in the parking lot. Eli knows her name and the name of her stepdad, who's been predatory towards me on multiple occasions since that situation. On the bright side, between hunting him down like the dog that he is and trying to turn his dumb ass in, I'm trying to turn his dumb ass in. Tyler,
Man, what's up?
I was told by one of the sellers up there that I was 86 from the Chevron. Nobody
Yes.
else told me anything about it, but I figured, well, if I stay away from there, I won't get in trouble for going there.
Yeah, heck yeah. I don't even work there no more, so
Wow, that sucks.
yeah, they're gonna miss me. I'm a beer guy now, which I gotta go. But yeah, you have a good time, and I wouldn't go on there. I mean, you could probably
It's
try
still
it in
good
like
to
a
see
year.
you. It's
Wait
still
a
good
year.
to see you.
Yeah, wait a year and then go check it out.
Yes, sir.
You have a good day.
Sadie. So I was like, is it Sadie? You know that singer Sadie? No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I know.
Here I am making squeaky noises in the morning. That's alright. Miss Faith did the same thing yesterday. I didn't complain at her either. Oh. It's my money.
There's 7:15 left.
I don't work.
Not today. I came in 30 minutes early though.
Make a stick. It makes it easier to tell that this is for the good dog because it's got the bone on top. I said, kind of like bone. That's money or really if they're fellas. I don't mind.
Good morning.
Morning.
Where are you from?
Kids always want to come in here and like give the people at the deli something special so they know they rock. But I'm pretty sure if I walked in every day and just put a stone on the counter, they'd be weirded out. Good morning. Well, that weird.
I mean, if they're nice, then no. But if it was just random and you didn't know them, then a little bit, it might seem like a threat.
I could. I actually have some recordings of a dude threatening me with rocks in a similar way. Although he was more threatening to Logan and Shayna because he had a crush on Shayna. Matter of fact, that creepy guy that stalked me here from Hood River had a big crush on Shayna too. So I'm kind of glad he's stalking me instead of messing with her.
Yeah.
But don't tell anybody I said that because I'm supposed to be some horrible evil monster. Whoa, or a big scary bear. Or what's the other one? You're the monster mash. 30 cents. 40 cents. Pity. Here, come closer, so I can share my COVID. I shouldn't have said that aloud. No, you can't. You didn't give me mine the first time. You didn't. Although, according to the crystal lady, you don't have to do that once you already know who I am. You already know you served me as long as I didn't leave the store.
No, that is.
I am enough just as I am. That is so true. You have no idea how many people tell me, enough is enough. Ugh. They have an anti-men's brand of coffee here now.
Really?
Yeah, it says Siren's Blend. You know what a siren does, right? The mythical creature. They cast out their beautiful voices to try to convince sailors to crash their ships on the rocks. I try to figure out a way to say thank you and how much I appreciate y'all, especially at the deli, but then I realize that I'm broke and all I've got is sassy.
Yeah, we love sassy.
That works.
We love the sassy.
Well, I better get back over there before I get somebody in trouble.
Yeah. I'm in trouble without even thinking.
Really? Are you an American or something?
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright, well,
Can't do nothing when you're around here.
I'll find a way to get offended by it, the way we're both doing what we're supposed to.
All right.
Can I get a tall white mocha with hazelnut? Or it's not gross. It really is. I thought it was gonna be when I first tried it, but now I only regret it. I like
I was informed recently that it's not fair that I'm more intelligent than most people because I look down on them. I don't mean to look down on stupid. Yeah, I seen you up the counter. It was the third time you'd gone up to the counter and I didn't see you buy nothing. I was about to ask you to date us and be like, Is this man bothering you?
I didn't know what I was doing. I was so bored. Like I haven't been this early before, and I don't like it.
That's what sucks about having a screwed up back. I'd get bored and I'd go to work, and I loved working because I was a tree cutter. But I didn't screw up my back tree cut.
Right.
And then when it was screwed up, I'm like, what do? I want to go to work. I want to go to work.
Oh, but I can't. No.
And then I get treated like I'm lazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want like to not have to work until I die. That would be cool. I'd like to see some stuff instead of working like 8-hour shifts till I just drop from there.
Well, what do you like doing?
Traveling, seeing, going hiking, all that stuff, snowboarding. That's what I normally do. I'm a lift operator mainly.
So you got a pen and paper, right?
I don't.
You don't?
Not on me. I got a pen.
Well, it doesn't have to be on you. You can write stuff down just because you're traveling. They'll probably make observations. They'll pay for those observations.
Maybe.
It's a matter of finding a way to do it and getting somebody to assist you with marketing stuff.
Fair.
I'd have all sorts of stuff going on if I could get somebody to help me to figure out how to get the whole card thing done.
Yeah.
The GoFundMe thing.
Oh,
Like that.
setting up the GoFundMe and all that?
Yep.
Okay.
Right before my friend Natalie was killed, I was trying to set one of those up, but I didn't have any friends to help me. After
So what? Bro. Why?
Did you glue it on? You got
Oh my
two
God.
lids. No, I just have a beard. Oh, you're talking about her.
There it is. Alright. Time to go sit outside for I don't know how long it's there.
Joy Boy typed, hello, I'm new here. Yeah, you were typing on here yesterday, Joy Boy. Welcome to my channel.
Okay.
Thank you, Misty. All right, I'm gonna go stalk that dude. Make me. Don't tell anyone I picked up some trash. That'll go through a tire. This is the reason I pick up trash. Stuff like this that'll go through my $95 tire.
Other people might not, but I appreciate it.
You have a car?
I did before I moved here. I'm gonna go get it back though, hopefully. I had an 04 Mustang.
Oh.
That was my baby.
The 64 Mustang is a real car.
That is true, yeah. Shay, what you done?
I don't think that was me.
I was just asking what you're doing.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I just came to brought for you. Huh? And then I realized I gotta call it 9:57 off the whole till anything yet, but I'm just upset because she told me to do everything as normal, and then last minute was like, oh, don't do everything as normal.
Oh Lord. I'm jealous. I do, I so do. Let me set these down and come over to the proper side for both of y'all. My name is Sean.
That's Maggie.
Hello, Maggie.
They get excited about meeting people, so they get pretty rambunctious.
Well, I'll give him my forehead.
This is Mia.
Mia? Hello, Mia. Oh.
Maggie is the lover, as you can tell.
Oh, absolutely. I am better with dogs' names than people names.
Of course.
What are their names?
This one's Maggie.
Okay.
This is Mia. Oh my goodness! I'll come to that side. Rotties.
That's adorable.
I would get a Rottweiler, baby.
I would too now.
Oh, they're big cuddle bugs.
They're real dogs.
Oh,
Plus, they're nanny dogs.
they're what?
Nanny dogs. They'll watch the kids.
My
Yep.
husband had a huge male, and that's what he did. They were really gentle with the kids.
Yep, them and St. Bernards and pit bulls actually are nanny dogs.
How much you have to get day, love?
I'll try.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you.
Sit. Good sit. Good sit. They love people.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm not a big fan of people, but animals for sure.
Isn't that right?
They love right. I think dogs are actually made of love. Every time that I've ever seen a dog growl at somebody, like for example, there's a lot of people in Nebraska that don't like black people. So some of them have dogs that'll bark at black people or growl at them, but whenever I take them for walks, they don't do that.
Well, there's a woman that was in a wheelchair. They weren't used to the wheelchair, so they kind of backed off. But she was just friendly, and they loved on her, of course, once they got used to the wheelchair. But they love everybody. I swear, if I gave them to somebody right now, they would be happy because they just love everyone. They're a lot to handle, but they are sweet. There's Dad. Okay, let's go back.
Well, thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for loving on them.
They deserve it.
Good girls. Good girls.
I'll see if I could hobble my way back to my car. Oh.
Troubled by the looks of it. Oompa-loompa-loompa-dee-doo. I've got another puzzle for you. You could live in happiness too. Oompa-loompa-loompa-dee-doo. What do you get? You're as big as a house. What do you get when your uncle's a louse? Oh. Yeah.
Well, Maggie has the blue collar. Yeah, has the red one. They're both beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Rottweilers. They're short muzzles. If you've ever had Rottweilers, there's short muzzled Rottweilers and there's long muzzled Rottweilers, and a long muzzled Rottweiler has a pretty short face. The ones that are the most sought after are actually the short faced ones. Somebody was telling me that they're called bare-faced or burrow-faced or something like that, but I don't know. I haven't seen those terms used to refer to a Rottweiler as far as any of my reading goes. There's also a lot of terminology that I didn't know until I started getting into dogs, like barrel-chested. I always thought that was just another way of saying somebody was fat. Nope, barrel-chested is definitely a reference to the shape. Some animals are barrel-shaped chests, barrel-shaped chest, and some of them, they get this kind of wedgy ridge thing at the front. Which I've been told restricts their lung capacity. So it's a good thing that Rottweilers don't generally have a body type like that. But sometimes you get, Greyhounds, for example, they need a lot of lung capacity. So they do have kind of a round chest for their type. But a lot of hounds have that V-shaped chest. It starts at the front and kind of tapers backwards and kind of tapers upwards. And a lot of those dogs don't have quite the running capacity that you might expect out of a lot of dogs. Now, there's only two animals on Earth that we are aware of that can run a full day. Dogs and humans. Only dogs and humans will push themselves that far. Only dogs and humans. Although technically, if a person is running all day, it's primarily jogging. But the same thing with a dog. A dog can take just short rests or pace itself. There's a lot of animals don't know how to pace themselves. It's because they're stuck in fight or flight mode. Much the same as the human beings out here. And hopefully you hear me talking to Tyler. Like I said, there's personalities that I like and actions that I don't. I can love the hell out of your personality. I can love the hell out of you as a person, but sometimes your actions are going to be stupid. Sometimes you're going to fuck up. And I can guarantee that. You know how? You're human. I can guarantee I'm going to fuck up. You know how? I'm human. Part of moving on is fixing the goddamn problem, though. And a lot of people seem to think that telling you to ignore the goddamn problem is a fucking solution. Your daughter's got cancer. Fine, ignore it. See how well that fucking works out for you. Ignore it. There's a serial killer in your neighborhood, chopping up little boys. Fuck it, just ignore it. The problem will go away eventually. You got a serial rapist breaking into specifically single mothers' houses with brown hair and glasses, and this is specifically what the dude's after. Of course, you don't give a shit. Even if you have brown hair and glasses, it's not going to register to you. When it comes to the homeless people out here and what they're having to go through, both men and women alike, is fucking abhorrent. And of course, when crimes are committed against us, then you want to send us to mental health. Fuck that. There are 22 counties in Washington state who are misappropriating funds intentionally, and then they're gonna sue the state because they broke the goddamn law. Par for the goddamn course, isn't it? Fuck this goddamn country. Jesus goddamn Christ. You know, the best thing that could happen to us right now is a war with Russia. That is the best thing that could possibly happen to Americans. And why is that? Number one, we haven't fought a real war since World War II. Those of you who want to argue that Korea was a real war, no. No, it wasn't. That was another piece of the Cold War. Russia and America, since World War II, Russia and America have, I'm not sure if you noticed this, have gone out of their way not to go to fucking war with one another. They'll find some little fucking piece of shit country nobody gives a holy fucking goddamn about in the Western world, and they'll bomb the shit out of each other in that country. Yeah.
Would you happen to have a piece of tin foil?
I don't. Closest I got is an aluminum can.
Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anyway, there's how it is and how you guys perceive it. When it comes to saving lives, I don't just speak up on YouTube. I'm out here on the streets every day. When it comes to the sober people out here, they're human beings. When it comes to the people out here who are alcoholics, they are still human beings. When it comes to the people out here smoking the blues, they're still human beings. When it comes to the people out here shooting up meth, they are still human beings. One of the biggest issues that we have is we tend to draw the line between who's a human being and who's not based on the threshold of your door. Do you have a threshold? If not, you don't have any rights. When it comes to the drug use out here, a lot of people say, oh, well, Sean, you don't do drugs, so you don't really know what you're talking about. I really do. I grew up in the system. I grew up with parents who couldn't stay off the drugs. I got dropped off at 18 on the streets with a bunch of people who were on drugs. Now, who is it that fucking rescued my dumb ass when I turned 18? First of all, I wasn't a dumbass. I just turned 18. That would be Kimberly Jepson, her brother Jason Jepson, her mother Terry Jepson, and her father Ron Jepson. They took me in, and I lived in the loft in their garage for about 2 to 3 months. I didn't stay there most of the time. Most of the time I stayed under the viaduct over by the tracks. The reason for that is because I knew there was going to be a train that went by at 6:10 a.m. every single morning, and it was going to jolt me conscious with its fucking horn. They do that periodically through the night, but it's the 6:10 a.m. train that went by that always got me to pay attention and made sure that I got to work. When it come to the Jepson family, when they allowed me to stay there in their loft, there's a situation of I had just turned 18, I didn't have an ID, and the only person that I could work for was Janet Roberts, and that's just because I worked for her before I turned 18, and she had a copy of my ID from before I turned 18. So I was able to get that job, and I was able to work it. I was able to work it until, I want to say I was 21 or 22, when Polly Olson signed that she'd known me for 10 years or longer, and that's how I was finally able to get my ID. Not a driver's license, mind you, just an ID. Now, some of y'all who follow my channel, and some of y'all in Chapel, Nebraska, who obviously know who Polly Olson is, anytime that you've had to go to the courthouse, you've probably had to talk to Polly Olson. You guys know that she stole a lot of money from the people of Dual County and bought personal items with it. Now, she's one of many people that I tried telling you about. I told you all about Waylon Lolatai, and then he ended up on the news for doing exactly what I said he did. I told you about Hardin, Montana, and they ended up on the news for exactly what I told you was going on up there. The same thing here in Tillamook. The cops are now in trouble for things that I've been documenting since I got here. They had over 80 situations where evidence was tampered with, and in 64 of those situations, it was drugs. Drugs, that's right. Police officers taking drugs out of the evidence locker and trading it to people out here on the streets for favors. Which favors those are depends on who it is that they're giving them to. Right now, even though the state police here in Oregon said that it's not their job to investigate the police, or it's not their job to police the police, they know beyond any shadow of a doubt, 100% of the time that they tell you that they are lying, that they are breaking the law, and that they are assisting these predators in getting away. Why is it that the state troopers or state police have not yet tried speaking with me, despite all of my efforts? Even after realizing I was telling the truth, they still haven't gotten back a hold of me. Why is that? Well, for the same reason they got 22 counties in Washington state suing over mental health. When they screw up, it's always somebody else's fault, isn't it? Of course it is. Like when you go to mandated reporters, because that's who you were sent to turn in the crimes against you. And they refuse to do their jobs. They just want to set you up for therapy. So you're going to therapy over and over and over again, eating up your time, eating up your resources, eating up your money. And once you've gone to these places over and over and over again, and they've literally done nothing to assist you, what are you supposed to do? Meanwhile, I'm sent out here for support from people on the streets. The problem is most of these people out here on the streets don't know the first goddamn thing about being a homeless liaison, which is what we all need out here. There's a lot of people that I'm going to for help that it's because they're the only ones available. But then their understanding of the situation, or lack thereof, makes it complicated. A lot of people out here, they've been beaten down so many times by law enforcement, and I don't mean necessarily physically beaten down. I mean beaten down financially too. These people are supposed to help you. Those people are supposed to help you. And none of them help you if you go in alone. They all pretend it's not their job. From TFCC to TCCHC. And there's a lot of people out here that I bitch about. You know I do. A lot of people who are homeless. A lot of people who have their own thing going on. The ones I cherish the most are the ones who are sober, but that doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for the ones who are messed up. Alexander may not come through. And he often does not. I'm told that it's my fault for trying to get help from him, but the thing is, he's a witness to multiple situations. He has good intentions. And that's where a lot of people get hung up. They get hung up on what their intentions are, or what their intentions were. They don't get hung up on listening to the victim. They get hung up on all their excuses why they can't after promising that they will. And then you get to see how the sober people out here are the ones jumping through the hoops the most. There's 3 women in this town that all 3 of them have offered to help, have said they'll help how I need, but then when you look at the situations, you know, when we set something up and we make a plan, they still have to jump through and take care of their basic survival needs too. If something comes up, let's say you say that you'll help me tomorrow at 9 a.m. and you don't show up at 9 a.m. Now, I could just throw a tantrum and pretend that you're an evil person who's trying to take advantage of me. But the reality is, I should probably wait before making that judgment. If your daughter's sick, or your son's sick, or you had to have gallbladder surgery, that's all stuff I'm expected to understand. But there's also the fact that I can only understand it to a very small degree, because here's the thing. If you tell me that you didn't keep your word because you were sick, and the cops say that I didn't try to get help, and that you were never going to help me, well, it's important that you come forward and say, hey, he was trying to get help. I was sick. I had the flu, whatever it happens to be. With Kayla Trujillo, what was her excuse? Well, first of all, I'm going to state that her excuse was not an excuse. For almost a year before Natalie was killed, Kayla Trujillo made nothing but excuses. However, the day that she was going to help me, the day she was finally going to help me, she did legit have back surgery. So is her back surgery an excuse, or is it legit? Well, due to the fact that I was there, I know that it was legit. The problem is she never came forward about that. She just let me get treated like I was a liar, like I made her up, like she was a figment of my imagination. Then she wanted to argue with me about it, like, oh, I talked to the cops. They know I'm not a figment of your imagination. Well, that's not what the fuck they wrote down in my court paperwork. The police outright lied at every fucking level. Every single one. And that's how police nationwide are towards the homeless. With 15 services just for women out here, for every one co-ed service, you'd think that women would be a lot better off than us out here. They actually are. Only 15% of our population, the homeless population, only 15% of us are women. 15%. 85% are men. That's the statistics nationwide. In some places, it's 90% men. In some places, it's only 75% men. But the average is 85. 85% of those who are homeless are men. Women are more likely to get help from these services. They're more likely to get government help. They're also more likely to get someone to allow them to move in. When it comes to a man who needs help, he has to beg, and he's treated like he's less than a person because he begs, because he has to. All a woman's got to do is bat her eyes at you, but it depends on who it is. Maybe I should tell you about Nicole Vertner. Maybe I should tell you about all the women that I know that were attractive, very attractive, but didn't realize that they were attractive because they were a little bit overweight. Sometimes when she loses that weight, she doesn't realize how attractive she is. And then you got a really, really super nice lady who is really, really super hot, getting gawked at by all the guys, but she doesn't realize how attractive she is. There's some women that I knew in my youth that knew that they were attractive. Of course they did. They grew up being attractive. They grew up with people throwing themselves at them. They grew up with that. When you get that girl who lived her whole life being slightly pudgy, slightly puffy, well, Americans' idea of beauty is pretty fucking fucked up and pretty goddamn askew. So, of course, let me give you the example of Jamie Curtis. When I met her, she was 9 years old. She had a big old gap between her teeth, and people made fun of her. Told her she looked like Goofy. Then she got braces. Her teeth were straight. She was all of a sudden magically beautiful, and people were throwing themselves at her. She was young enough that was important, and also young enough that she was in social situations with people around her own age because she was still in school. But she was able to realize how pretty she was when she was about 13 or 14. As soon as the braces come off, it was immediate. Now, when you look at a situation where a woman maybe in her mid-30s to late 40s, or mid-30s to early 40s, when she's been slightly pudgy her whole life, not really the lady that all the guys really drool over and swoon over. And then you hit that age where really people are just sick of women's shit, and you just happen to be a woman who became attractive at around that age. When it comes to physical attraction, that is super important. especially to American society. And sex appeal is also super important. How many of our commercials are absolutely nothing to do with whatever it is the fuck they're selling? You want to sell all that Coors, right? You remember the Coors commercials back in the day and the backlash. Like, what the hell does women in bikinis playing volleyball have to do with drinking Coors? Good question, right? Well, what it's got to do with drinking Coors is that now you've got people thinking about half-naked women and word association. Where's my keys? My phone was down to 5%. We got a lot of women who don't realize how attractive they are. And we've also got a lot of women who push on other women how important it is to be attractive. We've got women who complain to men about this. It's not fair that a man can go to a concert shirt and the same jeans, but she has to have a new outfit. Well, it's not guys complaining to you about not wearing a brand new outfit. It's other women. No dude gives a shit if you wore it last time. No dude gives a fuck if you wore that dress last time. None of us. We have to pretend to give a shit sometimes so that you don't throw a tantrum because we don't care enough. I don't give a fuck what you look like. What I give a fuck about is how you treat other human beings. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but if you don't treat human beings very well, I don't treat you very well. Now that asshole who that 14-year-old girl was trying to turn in, between hunting him down like the dog that he is and speaking up about it, what do I choose to do? I choose to speak up about it. I choose to speak up about it. And that's one of the things a lot of people don't get, is that whether or not you look the other way, that does come down to a choice that you've made. A lot of the people out here who have offered to help me, they have their own lives. They have their own problems. Somebody might tell me that they're going to help me today. And then, of course, they're going to be here at 11. But they might get a call at 11 o'clock from their doctor saying, hey, your test came through inconclusive, but we got some stuff in your blood test we'd like to recheck. And even though we had plans, that person still needs to take care of their own needs first. One of the biggest issues that I had is people canceling because their own needs needed to come first, but they never bothered telling the police. They never bothered telling the public. They never bothered telling my public pretenders. They never tried telling the media. They just let me get treated like I was a liar. Many of these people are dead now. Kayla Trujillo's still alive, but Christine Buhit, she's dead. Why did she do the mean things that she did to me? Because she was mad that I told the truth. Same thing with Rand Ingersoll, and both of them admitted it. Rand Ingersoll's dead too, by the way. Christine Buhit died of a fentanyl overdose. Anna Hunka either died of a seizure or she was beaten to death by a man who has a history of beating on her. When somebody falls down and hits their head because they had a seizure, did they fall down and hit their head or did you hit them in the head? Anyway, I gotta piss like a racehorse. Lucky me, I got cups to pee in. I also got a overextended hoodie, so I'm able to whip it out and utilize it without showing my parts off to anybody, which is good. I don't want to catch a charge, you know. One thing I learned living in Boulder is that if you're a college student who gets busted pissing in public, it's a $100 urinating in public fine. If you're a homeless person, gets busted pissing in public, same spot, same time, same night, you might be going to prison charged as a sex offender. Like they'll treat you as if you peeing in an alley behind the Pearl Street Mall at 2 a.m. is you trying to expose yourself to children. Who the fuck is out with their goddamn children on the Pearl Street Mall at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning? Nobody. Nobody is on the Pearl Street Mall with their children at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. And they sure as shit ain't hanging out in the goddamn alley. God bless America. Get in.